Hi, this is Hemant Pardikar and welcome to my podcast, The ARB Show. I'm very happy to introduce today's guest, Hemant. He's a professional in theory of inventive problem solving, also known as TRIZ. Hemant is a mathematics postgraduate and has been a career banker for over 35 years. And a very inspirational story to hear that he started learning TRIZ at the age of 66 and obtained two certifications from the International TRIZ Association and now is pursuing his third and final certification. He has a deep understanding of the Indian industry from a techno-commercial perspective and as a 25 years as a corporate banker. Welcome to the show, Hemant. Do share about your life journey and what led you to start working on TRIZ.
Hi, thank you, Ashish, for having me in this show. Actually, in 1975, it was a different India. You took up any job that came up because the jobs were few and far between. And a bank gave me a management trainee's job and it was too tempting to refuse. Otherwise, my whole DNA was really that of a scientist, not of a banker. But at some point of time, I was always, even as a banker, I was always interested in science and technology and pursued several hobbies including astronomy and astrophysics, etc., etc. So in 2003, while reading Economic Times, I read an article by Professor Prakash Apte of IIT. So there used to be a supplement called Corporate Dossier in Economic Times. So there he wrote about TRIZ. So that I found it very interesting, and then I made some Google search and found the source of TRIZ books. And that time TRIZ was known to very few people. So there is one institute called Altschuller's Institute in Boston, which is founded by the inventor of TRIZ. So from there I got two books and I found those two books extremely interesting. I read them 2, 3, 4 times. But later on, with increasing responsibilities and going from regional to national level responsibilities, those books sat in my bookshelf for 15 years. Then at 66, I said, "Arey, bore ho gaya abhi bahut. Do something new in life." So then I tried several things, and then finally I settled on TRIZ. And then I never looked back. I found it extremely interesting, and I'm sure so long as I'm active in my life, I'm going to pursue TRIZ.
Great. So, we understand that TRIZ has a lot of application and it's widely used in China, USA, South Korea, etc. And some statistics show that India is not in the top 10, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for Indians and the Indian students and Indian engineers and Indian inventors to look at TRIZ. So this topic is very relevant. So great. Thanks again, Hemant, for this quick introduction. So as I discussed, I would like to have a format in which the guest talks about the top 5 areas in of their interest. So I would request you to talk about the top 5 reasons to use TRIZ for innovation management. And I'm sure it would be helpful for the audience. And I'll also be sharing your presentation slides in the show call notes. Over to you, Hemant.
Yeah.
Let's start with the first reason why you feel that everyone should be looking at TRIZ.
It will involve a slight of historical perspective. The inventor or founder of TRIZ was a engineer called Genrich Altshuller, who was an inventor and a patent inspector in erstwhile Soviet Union. He inspected 40,000 patents to see if there is what is the way in which inventors think, and then is there a master method by which inventions can be done. So he came out with a radical thinking, saying that invention is not some kind of vague inspiration which comes into mind. Inventive skills can be structured, like algorithm. Algorithmic structure can be given to inventive skills, and inventive skills are something like um, uh, learning, driving, or swimming. There are very few self-taught swimmers or self-taught drivers, but so many people learn driving or swimming with help of instructors or help of a certain technique. So likewise, invention also can be learned, and then the extent to which one can do progress will depend on one's individual talent. So he says, not by inspiration, but by structure, but by analysis. And entire TRIZ is empirical. It's based on data. It's not any kind of psychological theory. It's based on data, which says of 40,000 inventions. Later on, millions of patents were analyzed. In fact, up to 2019, 25 million patents have been analyzed. And still, basic structure of TRIZ has remained what it was. And the first nation to make great use of TRIZ was South Korea. Last 25 years, South Korea was nowhere 25 years ago. Now South Korean companies are dominating in so many areas world over. In 2005, when I bought Samsung phone, my children laughed at me. And now Samsung is dominating. Today, Samsung files 200 patents every week. Every week they file 200 patents on an average. And I would have disbelieved it, but it is their head of R&D center, one person, a Russian person called Oleg Feginson. He said in one of his speeches. So, and now it is Chinese who have taken up to TRIZ in a very big way. In fact, last year, in 2021, out of 4,500 certifications done by International TRIZ Association, 3,000 certifications has been to Chinese. So this is the scale on which Chinese have taken up to TRIZ.
Great.
In fact,
yeah.
Yes, please.
No, you were saying something about how many number of which countries are focusing on TRIZ in which way. Please continue.
Yes, like Malaysia has introduced TRIZ as an elective subject in all engineering faculties in the final year. Not only that, they have high school science subject. They have lessons in simple concepts on TRIZ. Malaysia has already done this. Actually, TRIZ is new to India. Till 2021, there were only 145 people who have done level 3 in TRIZ.
Wow, excellent. So I mean that's a very good overview about adoption of TRIZ in other countries and how India should also be focusing on TRIZ. What in your view is the second reason why people should look at TRIZ compared to other creative methods like say Six Sigma, etc.?
Yeah, whenever I talk to people about TRIZ, this is the first question people ask me. Why do we do one more creativity methods when there are so many design thinking, theory of constraints, lean, blah, blah, blah. So many, first thing they talk about Six Sigma. So what is that TRIZ has, but these methods do not have? First thing is idea generation. All these methods have idea generation by brainstorming, which is like collective hit and miss. Collective random like throwing darts in the dark. But TRIZ has a very focused method, which is by contradiction resolution. I'll come to what is contradiction and how they are resolved. But very focused method of contradiction resolution, which is a very strong method and leads to breakthrough solutions. And this is every inventive problem. What is an inventive problem as defined by TRIZ? That there is always a contradiction. If you try to improve one aspect of a machine, something else deteriorates. If you increase take a high horsepower motor, you have higher electrical consumption, or the whole system gets heated up too much, or something like this. With one positive effect you try to bring, there is a negative effect. Now always the method is to minimize the negative effect to a tolerable level and maximize the positive effect. This is, we try to call this optimization. But optimization is always suboptimal. TRIZ solves this contradiction clean. There is no noise, at the same time power increases. Something like this. So this is one strongest point of TRIZ. The second strong point of TRIZ is that TRIZ, when TRIZ was being analyzed and when technical systems were studied from their origin up to and how they grow, it was found that there are certain predictable trends, and some of them are like laws and some of them like trends. Trends means there are some small exceptions here and there, but there are some kind of laws. So irrespective of the area, all the technical systems follow certain predictable evolutionary paths. And due to that evolutionary path, the main is called S-curve. It is something like a S-curve, which is of birth, growth, maturity and decline. Within this S-curves, there are 9 major trends and there are sub-trends. So if we analyze any technical system based on these trends and sub-trends, it is possible to visualize what is the shape of things to come. And based on this, our research and research effort can be focused in a specific direction.
Got it.
Which significantly increases the chances of innovation.
Okay, Got it. So that was a good summation about a brief overview about the philosophy of TRIZ. What could be the third reason for adopting TRIZ?
Yeah. Now let us look at, as I said, contradictions. Let us look at contradictions. As I was explaining earlier about the higher horsepower motor. So everywhere we get such contradictions. For example, if an aircraft has to take off quickly, it must have a large wingspan. But having large wingspan increases the weight. Weight will increase by the cube of the incremental length. And then because of the increase in weight, it will not take off quickly. Now, if you make the wings hollow, then the weight is reduced and you can have a long wings, but then the strength will go down. Strength of the wings will go down. Such contradictions are there everywhere. If you take a book, reading comfort, you want reading comfort in a book, then the letters should be big. But if letters are big, then the pages increase and the cost goes up. This is now how this contradiction is solved. What is the basic purpose of the technical system? Let us take example of these books. If the book is for children, then larger letters is a basic requirement. It is a constraint. With this constraint, what we have to see is how we can reduce the cost. Whereas if it is for a novel for a mass market, then cost is already low. Cost is always a constraint. You have to sell it at a lower cost. So at a lower cost and with small fonts, how you can increase the reading comfort? That is how you have to solve this. So it depends on where you are going to use the technical system. Now, how to solve this? Altshuller found very surprisingly that there are only 40 ways, 40 ways in which contradictions, millions of contradictions have been resolved only in 40 ways. So these 40 ways he called inventive principles. One of the simplest inventive principles, which every time, everywhere is used, is segmentation. You segment a problem, segment a technical system, like modular, making it modular. These are copying, make copies. Then asymmetry. So many times symmetry doesn't work, but asymmetry works. I'm just one single word will not really explain, and in this podcast it is difficult to explain all the 40 inventive principles. Okay. But these Thomas Edison used only 5 of these 40 principles.
Wow. So that just gives an idea about the potential, right? So if
yes,
genius like Thomas Edison used only 5, so I think the sky is the limit. I think what we'll also do is let's also add a couple of more points or some videos on this 40 inventive principles in your presentation, which will be shared in the show call notes. So people who are interested can kind of have a deep dive. Coming to reason number 4, what do you think is the 4th reason why people should look at TRIZ?
Yes, one of the most important aspects of TRIZ is reformulating the problems before solving it. It focuses on reformulating the problem, and it has elaborate methods to reformulate a problem, then generalize that problem. And once you generalize, then problems from very different areas will be look very similar. It is like comparing apples and oranges and mangoes and grapes and bananas, something like that. I'll just give an example. One action, brushing teeth, removing carbon from spark plug. Then third is kidney stone operation. Okay. 4th is pink slips to the non-performers. 5th is pest control at home to remove bugs.
Got it.
They are all one single function, which is removing unwanted material.
Got it. Excellent.
Removing unwanted material. I can add another 15 to this.
That's good. No, in fact, many of the Japanese techniques also find resonance. For example, in Japanese quality systems, you have got, I think, a concept of muda, which is elimination of waste, is a key concept there. So I see the kind of universality of things. If you look at things in a very basic level, it's all connected. Excellent.
So if you think in terms of functions, then you move away from the technical system or the machine into what it does instead of what it is, what it does. So to take this to an extreme, TRIZ postulates what is called as ideal final result. Ideal final result is there is no machine, but its function is performed. And then from there you go backwards. You want an ideal machine. You want an ideal final result, that there is no machine, but it cannot happen. So you step back. Once you step back, there is a contradiction. Then you solve that contradiction. Probably you see another 2 or 3 contradictions. You go on resolving like this. Then at some stage you'll reach a very breakthrough solution. This is the way TRIZ solves it. It is the other way around. You don't start from the existing situation. You start from the exaggerated situation and work backwards.
Excellent. So, what in your view would be the number 5th reason, top 5 out of the top 5?
Yeah. One second before that, let me elaborate a little bit on this ideal final result. result. And functionality, some two things I want to still say. Ideal final, do we have ideal systems? Yes, we have. If we see in our mobile phones, calculator has no physical existence, but its function is performed.
Yes.
A watch, a timer, a voice recorder, these are all, they don't have any kind of physical existence, but they so ideality is achieved. Now let me give three more examples. For when we were in schools, it was teacher used to use blackboard and chalk. Then came whiteboard and marker pens. Then came in 90s, there were transparencies. And now we have PowerPoint. Now all these four very diverse technical systems, they have a single purpose. That is to inform the audience. Now, future we may have something from virtual reality or augmented reality instruments may come and PowerPoint may go. Already people are already doing audio visual presentations. Tomorrow virtual reality will come. So technical systems keep on changing, but the function remains same. So always focus on functions. Okay, this is one. Now second is how the entire technology is always in silos. We have airbags in cars, but we have no airbags in helmets. Why not? Why do we need helmets in tropics? It is so suffocating to wear a helmet. I may not have an accident for decades, but all this time I am suffocating. Can we have a cap which keeps my head cool? At the same time, it protects me if there is an accident. So that function has to be performed. So it immediately takes you to airbag. But there is no airbag. We have not invented airbag for a two-wheeler guy. There is airbag for four-wheeler guy. So likewise, in different, now there are so many problems which are solved when one industry is facing that problem, but other industry has already solved it. For example, Intel had a problem while making chips. On a silicon wafer, they had to put some polymer. And they found that for unexplained reasons, sometimes, not always, but sometimes there would be bubbles in that polymers, micro bubbles. And then that silicon wafer has to be discarded completely. Now, why are these bubbles coming up? They were struggling to find out. And then they approached a TRIZ consultancy in USA called Genrich Partners. And then they said, which is the industry which controls bubbles very well, which is champagne industry. And champagne industry has solved this problem 300 years ago. And it was directly applied to by Intel. And same problem in Pune. Last year, 2 years back, one dairy had, or a dairy had there, when they were making butter, some bubbles would be there in the butter. So they did not know, same was applied there, same solution was applied there. So, this is how, if you focus on function rather than the technical system, you can have free flow of ideas from anywhere, from so many different areas. So this is in TRIZ, this is called function oriented search. I think I'm done with that.
Excellent. So as the final point, any closing thoughts as to why people should look at TRIZ?
Yes, the last point is the strongest point of TRIZ, which is the technical trends. It has been found that all technologies evolve in a predictable manner, and this predictable manner in which the evolution is technology agnostic. Whichever the area of technology, same kind of trends are found. So as I said, first is S curve. S curve is really, exponential. Why S curve is ubiquitous? Is exponential growth in a constrained environment. If you have an exponential growth in a constrained environment, it will be a S curve. First derivative of S curve is always a bell curve. So that is why you find them everywhere. So now within this S curve, there's this S curve has been researched to a great extent, and it has high predictive power as to what is going to be the future of this technology. Actually, there is no time to explain it. Apart from S curve, there are 9 trends. Among them, the main trend is trend of ideality. Every system strives to go towards its ideality. As I have just now, some time ago, explained to you about some systems. Now, one is that we are wearing eyeglasses. Now, how eyeglasses have moved to ideality? What we need eyeglasses do is vision correction. Now, vision correction. Now, the frame, the glasses, they all migrated to all these girls wear those what is it called?
Contact lenses.
Contact lenses. I'm sorry, suddenly forgot. Contact lenses. So it evolved to contact lenses. From contact lenses, now there is a laser procedure, which my daughter did. She had a thick glass, and now she does not wear glasses or contact lenses. Now by laser they change the focal length of the lens inside the eye. So now the vision correction, there is no instrument but vision correction is done. So in fact, this technology has moved to its ideality. Likewise, every technology now, cameras in our phones, or phone storage, it's all virtual. It has no existence, no physical existence, but all photographs are stored. Likewise, every system moves towards ideality. In some cases, ideality is achievable, some cases is not achievable. But the trend is always towards ideality. Now then, there are other trends like increasing degrees of freedom, movable parts, lowering human involvement, means trend towards automation. Then miniaturization, and then uneven development of parts, uneven development of subsystems. Like in computer, the processing power has increased so much, the CPUs have developed so much, but the keyboard is just as it is. Such uneven developments are there everywhere, and these create contradictions and scope for innovation.
Got it. Great. Thanks, Hemant. This gives a great perspective, and thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in. Presentation in the show call notes will have various social media content and bonus content as well that you should definitely check. And as usual, do subscribe, share, and like the podcast. Bye for now. Talk to you soon.